Hey there. Miss me?
Because the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at amazingly entertaining, I want to welcome to the ring the greatest, most technically sound podcast on the face of the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Wrestling with Wi-Fi. Tuning in right now.
And just like that, we're back. So, sorry, been a long little bit. Been busy with the corporate podcast, among other things. But I figured now's as good a time as any to throw a quick one out there and get things rolling. I wanted to do this because WLPC registration starts in a week, basically, on December 15th. I can't remember what time it is, but it'll pop open early in the morning, Eastern time, because that's where I'm at, so that's what I care about. And once it starts, it usually books up pretty quick. I think Keith says it's usually within the first couple days, everything is kind of sort of full. The popular boot camps and whatnot go, and so are the popular deep dives. So where am I going with this, right? John, we haven't talked to you in 6 months or whatever it's been. And, well, I have stuff running for this year, as with prior engagements. So for Phoenix in 2024, which is, I think, the 17th to the 22nd of February. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's about right. I have an RCWA boot camp up for anybody who wants it. Obviously, it's targeted for those who really need the Ruckus information, but if you're looking to learn Ruckus and want to play with it, it's there for you. I'm hoping that runs. I had a really good time with it last year, or I should say last February, not last year, because we're still in 2023. And then the bigger one that really applies to everybody is my deep dive, which Jim Palmer and I have worked on for a couple of years. We've crafted it, we've submitted it, it's been rejected, we've whined and we've moped and we've sulked, and then we tried it again. And this will be the fourth time, I think, it's made it to the registration page, maybe the third. And hopefully this time it'll actually fly. Remains to be seen, we shall see, right? But so we did a little bit of a retool, and now it's called a compact network in a box. And I've got a video that I'm actually going to post to the Wrestling with Wi-Fi YouTube channel. Yay, we're going to go video, and I feel sorry for you guys because you get to look at my face. I have a face for radio. There's a reason why I've done podcasting more. But so anyways, a compact network in a box. We've come up with what I think is a really slick concept. We took the home lab and kind of jazzed it up a little bit. Home lab is great. You know, you get a MikroTik router, a MikroTik switch. I forget what we were putting into it previous years. I think one year we were trying to do a tablet for testing. One year we tried to get a NetTool IO for testing. And then, of course, that was the year the NetTool IO, the quote-unquote budget option was retired, and they replaced it. They upgraded it, and it became out of the price range for the boot camp, or I'm sorry, a deep dive. See, I do it just like Joel. So with that, we've kind of, as we've failed to get it to run, we've kind of tried to spice it up a little bit. And I couldn't add a drone to it because that would just totally blow up the budget and be completely useless for the purposes of a home lab. Little bit of an inside joke there. But what we did do was we made it a little bit more useful, I think, and put it into a rugged Pelican type case where you're getting a MikroTik router, a MikroTik switch, PoE switch, and 2 APs for this particular class. One is a Ruckus R350, which my day job is donating, or if you want to call it sponsored, whatever. They are providing for the participants of the class an R350, which is a nice AP. And then in addition to that, the kit is supposed to have a MikroTik Map Lite, which is an insanely small AP. It literally fits in the palm of my hand. And the idea behind it is a couple things, right? So you can do home lab in a box where if you don't have a lot of space, and sometimes I don't, and sometimes I do, set it up in your house, break it down when you're done with it, but it can power up APs, it can power up, a literal test network, a standalone air gap network, so you can do whatever you need to do, and you're not taking your kids or your spouse or whoever offline. If you're like me and you've got a family that is heavily dependent on technology, can't break the network. So that was kind of the impetus for that part, at least. But as we kind of grew it, it's like, well, wait a minute. If you can do it in a box, it'll travel with you. So for me, for example, teaching the RCWA, I will fly to Phoenix with a Nook, a Microtech router, actually the one that's in the box right now as part of the showpiece, and some other, what just happened? Anyways, so I will travel with all of my gear for training, right? For the boot camp. And honestly, last year when I flew, or February when I flew out with, I think everything was kind of stuffed in a couple different bags. I may have actually shipped some of the parts in a box that came out, because I shipped like 5 boxes last year with all the swag and things like that. So got creative with the packing, because when you're bringing the stuff for a week, it's a lot of stuff for the class. I brought a lot of gear. But the idea with this is now it's in a small, almost like a camera case. I think it actually shows up on Amazon as like a gun case. It's lockable. So if you wanted to ship it or you wanted to travel with it and fly with it and it gets out of your sight, you've got locks. Well, you don't have the locks, but you've got the holes for the locks. And it fits. I've got all 4 of those bits and room to spare in that box. But travel for training, travel to an on-site for a demo, for a temporary network. You've got a church picnic. You've got, you do, like, if you're a ham radio guy like I used to be, and you do a field day, or, heaven forbid, you've got an actual, sort of a disaster scenario where you need a temporary network. As long as you've got some backhaul, you've got everything in that box you need to generate a couple zones of Wi-Fi coverage. Obviously the map is, like, when I tell you it's insanely small, it literally is about the size of, maybe it's a little bit bigger than a pack of matches, for those of us who remember what a pack of matches look like. But it's really small. But again, for what you get in this box, I think, and Jim and I are a little bit biased, but I think we both feel that it's really, really a lot of bang for your buck. It should be a good experience. The Microtech ecosystem is actually pretty impressive. When I got into it, I remember some folks saying it had a really high learning curve, or maybe it wasn't as straightforward or easy as some of the other competitors in that space of like a budget home networking that's a little bit more expert friendly, as opposed to the off the shelf GUI driven stuff. And honestly, the one piece of equipment that I had in my closet that was recommended to me was an Ubiquiti, and I got to tell you, like, I got it running, but when I started using the hex gear from Microtech, either it just clicked for me, or I had somebody smarter teaching me how to do that, or what. I couldn't tell you, but it was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. It works. I know exactly where to navigate. I could go weeks without being in my router, and then when I need to go find something, I can go right in, and it's right where I expect it to be. So I am not like the Microtech expert in the world, by far from it. But, I know there are people out there using all sorts of different gear, and this is just my way of saying, I at one point not that long ago was a complete noob when it came to doing like home network labs and things like that. And I kind of wish there was a class, because I had a lot of people that just assumed because I was older, I had been around enough that I knew what I was doing. And the reality was, a lot of my early career wasn't in wired networking. It was in telecom. So, this is my way of saying, for anybody that's newer to networking, maybe you're making a career change, maybe you've never really known and you want something like this at home, this is your chance. It's a decent kit we put together. I think it'll serve multiple purposes. If you don't use it on a regular basis, it's in a nice tidy little case that you can tuck out of the way, and your family won't go crazy and try and beat you with it, maybe. But yeah, so that's kind of the plan for Phoenix. Hopefully, we should know the next 10 days or so, depending on how registration goes, which is going to run. I'm hoping both do. That would be a little bit of a holy heck kind of thing for me, because it's a lot. But like I said, I did the boot camp last February, loved it. I had a great group of people. I hope I can do another class again in February of 2024, and would really like to get the opportunity to do a deep dive as well. Little terrifying, absolutely, sure. I'm not cocky like that, but I think it'll be fun. Jim's done a lot of work with me, mostly Jim, to make sure that it's a really good deep dive. and something that I think he's approached it as this would be something that he would want to do. So yeah, take that from me. It'll be fun. I guarantee that much. And again, if nothing else, you're going to leave Phoenix with a free Ruckus AP. And again, that is for anybody, not just, if you're not a competitor. I don't care. There's no caveats to it. There's no strings attached. It's just yours to take home and play with. So, yeah, that's all for the welcome back episode. It's a little short and sweet, but we'll get back into it. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to get into a regular cadence and see if we can't grow the show. So thanks, everybody. If I don't catch you between now and the holidays, hope everybody's having a happy and healthy, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you choose to celebrate or not. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks.